Well, good morning, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Up North for the Weekend. It's a little bit of an unplanned trip up here today. Just another day trip here. I realized over the last few days to a week that the solar panels haven't been really keeping the batteries as charged as they should be. It's been about a week and a half or so at least of just straight clouds and no sun really to speak of. So I'm going to try a little bit of an experiment here and try and rewire these panels to a higher voltage so we can keep the batteries charged a little bit better in the low light conditions that we've been having up here. So I'm probably going to bust out the Honda generator here and hook that up to the batteries with the charger for a little bit and get those batteries charged up. I checked my phone and they're about 10% charged, so they're just barely taking a charge here. I'm gonna finish opening up the camper and see what we can do about these batteries. Like I said, I'm gonna try and rewire these a little bit better and get the voltage up as high as I possibly can without overpowering the charge controller. I'm gonna finish getting set up here and I'll get the tripod set up and we'll get going. All right, stay tuned. Okay, so I'm just checking the batteries and the solar panel charging and whatnot here. So as of this moment, it's just barely starting to come into the sun a little bit. We're getting about 150 watts, which is not too terrible, I guess, for the conditions that we got right now. And there's some frost on the panels too, of course. But I'm gonna try and see if I can't get this wired up to a higher voltage here and hopefully increase the wattage output. That way it'll work earlier in the morning and later in the evening. I got a 100 watt 50 amp charge controller, so I'm gonna see if I can get these panels wired up to as close to 100 watts as I possibly can, or 100 volts rather. See if I can get them wired up as high as I can and get them as close to that 100 volt limit there on the charge controller. So okay, so this will be a good opportunity for a good cold start here on the generator. This thing hasn't run for, I don't know, 3 weeks or so anyway. Beautiful. So I'm just hooking up a little Amazon smart charger I got off the internet there off Amazon. Just a 20 amp smart charger. It does AGM and lithium and flooded and all that horse shit. So first time using it, I just took it out of the box to see how it works. Probably ought to get the owner's manual before I destroy my batteries here. Okay, so I don't know, it says to select the kind of battery you're going to charge, so I'm going to go with LifePo. Okay, it's hard to see, but it's on LifePo now. Okay. So you can see my battery power was real low. Right now, so it's got a adjustable charge rate. The lowest one is 11 amp, about 12 amps. Next one up's 13. Okay, so we'll let that run for a little bit. I'm gonna let it run the entire time I'm here, and I'm gonna start trying to rewire these panels for a little bit higher voltage here. So we'll be right back with you. Okay, so I'm just gonna pretty much start over here. If I did this right, which I can't, there's a pretty high likelihood that I did not. What I want to do is basically, so I'm going to daisy chain these 4 together and those 4 together, and then so I'll have two 48 volt panels. I want to start with that and see what kind of voltage I get with that, and if I can wire them up to a higher voltage, we'll see. We're going to start out slow here so I don't blow my shit up here. So okay, so I'm going to see if I can explain this right. So I think essentially what I had before was honestly I don't even really fucking know. Like, all I know now is the way I have this wired. I have 4 panels wired up in series, and then another 4 panels wired up in series, and then they're parallel they're connected parallel, so I essentially have two big panels basically. So the way I have it wired now, the max voltage that this whole array could put out, given that each panel is 22.7 open volts open circuit, so 22.7, and I have 4 panels wired together, so multiply that by 4. That's a maximum output of 90.8 volts going into my 100 volt charge controller. So the way I have it here is the highest this is the highest voltage that I can run with that charge controller before it gets overpowered and it shuts itself off. You wire them in series to increase the voltage, but the amps stay the same. So for like these 4 panels here, the maximum open circuit voltage is 90 point whatever volts, but the amps stay the same at 5.13 amps. That's the max power, the max current these panels put out. So we get 90 volts at 5.13 amps, and then we got another 90 volts at 5.13 amps here. So when you wire the 2 sets in parallel, the voltage stays the same, but the amperage increases. If the sun was beaten down on these panels, you know, at full bore, which they're not right now, the maximum output is 90 volts at about 10 amps. That's the maximum volts and amps going up this wire to the charge controller, and then the charge controller is stepping down those volts from 90 down to the 13.5 volts or whatever it needs to charge up the 12 volt system. So right now we're getting 90 watts at about 78 volts, 77, 78 volts. It's only about an amp. But once you step it down to the 13 volts that it needs to charge the batteries, the amperage goes up. So we only getting about an amp in from the panels, but out of the charge controller we're getting almost 5. Okay, so we're up here at the front of the camper once again. I don't know if I showed you any video of what I did up here, but I had this deep cycle battery. This thing sucks. I needed it. I bought it when I brought the camper up here because I needed something to run the electric jack so I can get the camper on and off the truck, but it's not worth the shit as far as running anything 12 volt for any length of time inside. Those of you who have seen the video, one of the first videos I made a while ago, I had 4 of these. These are the golf cart batteries that I said that I hated and I wanted to get rid of. I'm putting 2 of them back in here, and I'll tell you why. So me and my severe lack of electrical knowledge, I thought it would be a good idea to run a 12 volt wire from all the way down there all the way up to here, and then wire. So basically I'd be wiring the camper 12 volt right into the lithium batteries, and I quickly realized that was not going to work, especially with this small gauge wire here. I ran it all the way down. That's probably 225 feet of it here, and I just have these little quick connects here with a polarity reverser and whatever, and I ran it up underneath the camper thinking that I was all smart and whatever, keeping it out of the snow. And then I realized pretty quick, like I said, that the voltage drop was it barely has enough voltage or amperage to run the 12 volt lights in the camper. Like it doesn't do anything. I'd never be able to run the furnace on it because I got the furnace it's a propane furnace, but it's a 12 volt fan, of course, so that wasn't going to work. So I think the next thing I'm going to try here is I'm going to wire up these 2 6-volt batteries series parallel to make a 12 volt battery. They're 230 amp hours, which really I'm only getting 115 because you can't drain them all the way. But it's better than what I had here. I'm not even sure what this is rated for. Just got to find my other negative cable jumper here, and I'm going to wire these up series parallel, and then I'll wire the camper back up the way it's supposed to be wired into these batteries. And then once I get that done, I'm going to run an extension cord from the inverter down there on the batteries up here to a trickle charger to keep the batteries charged when I'm here. I'm not gonna, I haven't decided if I'm gonna keep it running around the clock. We'll kind of see how that goes. So like I said, these are 6-volt batteries. I'm just gonna wire them up in series parallel 12 volt. And then this will be the power to run water pump, furnace, and you know, run the computer board to that takes care of the fridge and whatever else. So negative, positive. See if I can kind of make this a little bit neat so it doesn't look like complete shit. Now it's super easy with just 2 batteries because it's only 1 jumper. You only got to go negative to positive. So that doubles the voltage. So we'll cinch this down. It's a Bluetooth battery monitor here. I'm just gonna other way around. Positive. Just gonna hook these up real quick just to see what we're at for a charge. I have the 12 volt unplugged. Nothing's plugged into the battery, so it's everything's all good here. So socket would really be ideal in this situation. Before I come back up here again, I'm gonna have to track down a battery box. I know they make one that holds 2 batteries. I'm gonna have to measure these and see how big of a box I need. I just want to keep them out of the weather. But I gotta, for right now, I have a big tote bin that'll fit over top of them, keep them out of the rain and the snow and everything else. So that'll be good. So I don't have the is this gonna reach? Yeah, this will reach. I don't have the right color jumper cable to go from the positive to the camper here, so I'm just going to use a black one. I have a white one for negative. It's easy enough to remember. So we'll go to the camper first. There's just a little junction box right here, right behind the batteries. You can't really see from there probably. I'm just hooking up the positive lead that goes to the battery here. Now I've gone back and forth on ideas on how to keep this whole setup as streamlined as possible. I wanted everything to run off the lithium batteries all together. I didn't really want to have a whole separate battery system for the camper to run the 12 volt. I was hoping I could just keep it all as one thing, keep it nice and simple. Only have to worry about 1 set of batteries to charge. But it doesn't seem to be working out that way, which is fine. I'll figure out, you know, this should work for what I need it for. Because like I said, even if I have to just keep a trickle charger on it while I'm not here, because I mean, you probably should anyway to keep the batteries from freezing, because they're flooded batteries, of course. So the other thing I could do too is I could get another small solar panel, another Harbor Freight, a little bit better one than that maybe, but another solar panel set up, just a real, you know, a little 100-watt panel, set it up on the roof of the camper. That way that'll keep these batteries trickle charged and keep them from freezing. And plus, if I do that, I'm not drawing any more power out of the main battery bank down there. So I don't know. There's a few different ideas I got. So now we got this. Can go. Which way do I want this to go? I want it to go like this. And this is just a ground that goes into the, it's just a big self-tapping screw that goes into the frame of the tongue here. A socket would definitely be ideal. Fuck. The amount of times I've hooked up and disconnected and rehooked up batteries, I would have thought I figured I wouldn't be second guessing myself as much as I am, but okay, so it's been a couple hours since I rewired the panels. The charge controller here on my phone, we're getting about 53 watts. Now the problem with having 4 panels acting as one big panel is if one of them gets covered in shade, even partially, it'll screw up the whole. It'll kind of it'll affect all the other panels. That's the only downfall with having a bunch of them wired up together like that. See how there's a shadow kind of in the middle and the 2 end ones are in the sun? It's one of those MPPT charge controllers, so it's trying to figure out the most efficient charge rate. So that's why it's been jumping up and down. But right now we're getting about 120 watts at about 40 volts. The panels are putting about 3 amps out to the charge controller, and then the controller is stepping down the voltage to the correct voltage to charge the 12 volt batteries. We're getting about 8 amps out to the batteries, so that's not too bad. I think if I'm understanding this whole thing correctly, even though the current coming in from the panels, the 2.8 is so low, with the added voltage, it makes the output amperage higher, which means more battery charge. And I could be completely way off fucking base here with that, but if I go into my batteries, we've had the generator running this whole time. It's been, I don't know, hour or two, I think, and we got the solar panels and the battery charger running the same time here, so we're about 19% now. I'm not going to be able to get this all the way up to where I really want it to be before I leave, but it is what it is. It's been a week plus with no sun and nothing but clouds, and it looks like more of the same after today for the next week and a half. Not a whole lot I can do about it. I'm likely going to have to add a 3rd battery just to kind of keep up with the lack of sun and get me more of a length of time between charging periods where we actually do have sun here. So okay, so I'm just putting shit back together here. It's not going to be that cold between now and the next time I come up, so I'm just going to disconnect this battery charger. I'm not even going to bother with it, and I should be able to just kind of, yeah, there we go. There. I'll keep the water off the batteries and make sure the propane is off. That's off. This can go back up in here. It's a fucking mess in there. Big extension cord that goes underneath there for now. This is why I need a shed and a workshop to store some of this shit here. There's just no place to put anything. Gotta put this generator away and plug the inverter back in. 26%, 32%. See, I don't know. We still got a few hours of sunlight left today, and then it's supposed to be cloudy tomorrow, and then the rest of the week, I think. I hope that the higher voltage will help a lot with that stuff. As far as like the low light, you know, that's that whole situation, because we'll kind of see how it goes. I don't know. I'm learning as I go here with this solar shit. So like right now, 380 watts. I got to think, even if you're getting 100 watts, you know, you're getting maybe an amp out of the panels, but after you step the voltage, you're probably still getting 5 amps at, you know, going from the charge controller into the battery. So I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I got to get going on this workshop. I'm really excited to make another video on that. It's going to be the siding and the windows, and potentially some of the rafters, setting the ridge beam, that sort of thing. So that'll be a good video to do. That'll be in the next couple weeks. So I really want to get this closed in as much as I can before we get any real snow up here. I gotta have it as weathered in as I possibly can. It's gonna be, there's another video coming, another couple videos coming here this fall anyway, probably couple separate videos. I'm gonna do, you know, like the next video will be the siding and the you know, the T111, and but anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna continue to finish packing up here. I gotta put that generator back in the camper and get the camper locked up, and I gotta get home. So as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I look forward to getting back up here again like I always do, and get ripping on this shed build. So thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.